Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome to another Chinese special from GEARBEST.com. My ongoing quest digging through the GEARBEST website continues to unearth nuggets of bargain horological gold. The Cadison I looked at a couple of weeks ago was a cracker. Miyota 8215, sapphire crystal and a really comfortable leather strap for $50. Sold out pretty quickly after I released the video, but they're back in stock. I'll leave a link in the description if you fancy the look of that one. However, I think the object of today's video, this Guanchin, is even better. Sapphire crystal, leather, butterfly clasp and a Seiko NH36. Refined, elegant looking and not trying to be something else. If you follow me on Instagram at Just One More Watch, perhaps you noticed this one out and about around Sydney, visiting some of the local tourist attractions. I popped it on a Pearlon, I had it on a vintage leather strap, and I even popped it on a NATO at the weekend. I think it looks great on all three. In fact, this little Guanchin has found its own little niche in my collection. I'm keeping this one. I'm going to make a second video about it in a couple of weeks' time. I'll explain myself as I go. Alright, let's get into the box. Well, that was a bit of a gushing intro for a Chinese special, Jody. What exactly is it about this Guanchin that you like so much? Well, I always try and review pieces objectively. The whole point of this channel is that you don't have to spend a fortune to get a decent watch, and I think at $62, this Guanchin, dollar for dollar, definitely one of the top pieces I've reviewed so far. So, starting with the packaging, a nice little bit of faux snake there, clearly borrowing heavily from the Longines, the wings there with a G in the middle rather than the Longines crest. But moving into the box, you get an international guarantee, a nice little instruction manual. You even get a cute little Guanchin branded polishing cloth. Again, very nice for the price. And there is the watch. So, usual format today, we'll start with dimensions and specifications. We'll get some good close-ups of what I think is a really nice dial. There's a few niggles. There's obviously going to be a few niggles. I find niggles in much more expensive watches. I'm certainly going to find them in a $62 Chinese special. Movement accuracy report, and then I'll pop it on the wrist a little later on and explain myself what I intend to do with this watch, video number 2. So just over 40 millimeters in diameter, measuring on my calipers at 40.5, just under 12 millimeters thick, 49.5 lug to lug as well, but quite long lugs if you see what I mean. There's a bit of a gap, good for Pearlons and NATOs and the like. This one weighing in on the strap at 70 grams. 316L stainless steel case and crown, and a dead flat piece of sapphire crystal. I guess there's two things that make this watch remarkable for the price. The first is the sapphire crystal and the second is the Seiko movement. Thankfully, Guanchin has chosen to keep the dial very nice and clean, just Guanchin under the Roman at 12 and automatic above the 6. Lovely sunburst effect on the dial, pretty spectacular actually, in a nice clean silver colour. A minute track all the way around the outside, and those indices on the hours are actually very nice. I'll get a zoom in on them in just a second. We've got a day-date complication at the 3 o'clock because this is the NH36. Nice double frame around that one with a little bit of beveled edging also. And a very unusual case shape as well, this one 12-sided. Now I've been looking on the internet, I've been googling like mad, trying to find a watch that this looks like, and I can honestly. If I've missed it, if this is a direct copy of something, please let me know, but as far as I can tell, this is a fairly original design. Again, all the more remarkable for the price tag. Zoomed right in on the dial then, you can see that sunburst in full effect. Applied indices, and you can see what I mean. There's a nice little bit of depth, a nice little bit of texture to the hour markers, all very pleasant, and a little scallop in the middle of the hands as mentioned. So minimal verbiage on the dial, they seem to have saved that for the Caseback. So there is the screw down Caseback claiming 30 meters of water resistance. I did get this one wet when it was on the Pearlon, took it in the shower with me a couple of times to test its water rating. I would have no arguments there. Screw down Casebacks are usually pretty good for 30 meters for light swimming duties even perhaps. So Guanchin Watch Company, water resistance 3 bar, SMO-NG 8200-S047935 CST 7D0283. Would somebody from Guanchin please get in touch and tell me what on earth that means? At least they put it on the case back rather than the case front. So there is the Seiko NH36 beating away in the middle there, very much the star of the show today. the day-date cousin of the venerable NH35 that appears in a million and one micro brands. And this one has been pretty good to me. I'll pop up the movement accuracy report there. Very, very consistent. This one's been in the winder, it's been on my wrist, it's been out and about as noted, coming in at +6 and dead consistent with it. You do kind of wonder, do Seiko keep the good movements from themselves and send on their B grade, C grade or even D grade movements to cheap suppliers like this one? Well, looks like they don't. Very happy with that result from the NH36. Now the leather strap is okay. You shouldn't be expecting too much here for your money. It does say genuine leather, I've got no reason to doubt it, but I suspect this came from a particularly old and tired cow. It's not the softest, it's not the nicest, but it will probably last a fair amount of time, being pretty durable and a nice little Guanchin crest embossed to the underside. As mentioned right at the beginning, this one comes on a butterfly clasp. To be honest, I'd have preferred a tang. It's not bad, it looks like it'll last a fair while, it's nice and tight mechanism, kind of positive one to operate, but I always think that maybe that's stretching the friendship a little bit too far. They'd be better on these cheap watches, like the last Cadison I reviewed, just putting a tang clasp on them, but not too bad. Quick shot of the side profile there as well, highly polished throughout, you know, pretty plain looking, but that's not a bad thing. Little G on the crown there, always nice to see a signed crown, especially at $62. Nice bit of curvature on the lugs, mean this watch conforms to the wrist nicely, as we shall see. And there it is, sitting on my 7-inch wrist. I think it looks fantastic. Certainly looks a lot more expensive than the price suggests. The sunburst effect, the polygonal bezel, those nice little applied indices, all adding up to a piece that really does look pretty nice. Pretty classy looking thing for 60 bucks. The strap, as mentioned, is a little bit tough, but 20mm lug width on this one, you'll have no problem replacing that if and when the time comes to do so. But really very nice indeed. That day adds some practicality to this if this is an office piece for you as well. So niggles then, well, not too many really. As mentioned, the butterfly clasp is not fantastic. I actually had to replace the 18mm spring bar in there as soon as I got the watch. The one in here was rubbish. You know, if you're going to keep a watch, if you're going to wear it for any length of time, I would always recommend replacing the spring bars anyway, just with something more secure. What else? Well, there's a tiny gap between the sapphire crystal and the case. You can see perhaps there between the 1 and the 2, there's a little gap, there's something stuck in there, there's a little bit of dirt. I reckon you could clear it out with a toothpick or something, but just a little design fault there. Just that tiny little gap, you can see where my thumb is, the little line all the way around. Just something to be aware of if you're going to keep this one long term. And the loom, I'll pop up a loom shot. To be honest, this loom shot does it favours. The loom isn't all that spectacular and it fades really, really quickly. But this is a Seiko movement. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of different handsets available for this Seiko movement, so it's an easy job, combined with a screw down caseback, to replace them. Look what arrived this morning, a shiny new set of silver snowflake hands, hopefully with some decent loom on them. As mentioned, I'm keeping this watch. It's a really nice summer work watch for me on that purlon, but I do need a little bit more loom than the Guanchin was providing, hence the handset. So I'm going to do a second video. I'm going to do a mod video with this Guanchin. I think at this price, better than mucking around with a more expensive watch, you can start with one of these ones, tinker around with various handsets, and I'll be working my way up to the Seiko SKX and more expensive mod projects over the course of 2018. And another little zoom in on the dial just to finish today. Look, I get it, these Chinese specials are not for everyone. Not everyone is going to be comfortable having a Guanchin on their wrist. For some people, the brands matter more than the spec and the price, and that's fine. But I just think 62 bucks, very few niggles, a really classy looking watch, I think, for not a lot of cash today. So there you have it, big fan of the Guanchin. Great set of specs, ridiculously low price tag, an elegant and classic design, something I'd be more than happy to have on my wrist over the last couple of weeks or so. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you in that mod vid, if not before.